let's talk about Dave Franco's feature directorial debut, The Rental. The movie stars Dan Stevens and Alison Brie as Charlie and Michelle. They're a married couple who do an Airbnb type thing, and they rent a house with Charlie's brother, Josh, and his girlfriend, Mina. And Mina also happens to be Charlie's partner at work. What should be a fun weekend getaway for the group takes a dark turn when they start to suspect that the host of the house is spying on them. The Rental does start off pretty strong. That's a winning core concept right there. The idea of renting a house and then having the owner of that house spy on you, or maybe things get even more violent than that. In a day and age when we're all doing that, it's just a really freaky thought. But still, that concept can only take you so far if you don't have a group of characters to get really invested in. But The Rental does have you pretty well covered there as well. All four characters have some real individuality, and tracking their personal responses as things continue to escalate is easily one of the most fascinating parts of the film. The surface level descriptors of these characters would be that Charlie is the level-headed leader of the group, his brother Josh, played by Jeremy Allen White, has gotten into his fair share of serious trouble, but it does appear that he's trying to change his ways, and it also seems like Mina's influence could be helping with that. She's a no-nonsense firecracker who has absolutely no problem whatsoever calling out Toby Huss's character Taylor, the guy managing the house, for some seemingly racist behavior, and then I'd say Michelle is the most well-meaning of the bunch, getting a good night's sleep one night so that she can hike the next morning and party hard the next night. It's an interesting assortment of big personalities here that's further complicated by their history and also the secrets that they're busy keeping from one another. And Stevens, Vand, White, and Brie really do dig into the nuance of all of that very well, and also have great natural chemistry together. And then, of course, I can't not bring up Toby Huss, who can do no wrong in my book. I don't know, he's just great in this, kind of like everything else I've seen him in recently. So now, take all of that and then dump the threat of a potentially dangerous Airbnb host on top of it. It worked well enough, and there's certainly loads of that need-to-know type of feeling when it comes to the mystery of how they're going to get out of there, who's pulling the strings, what the end game is. My biggest issue with The Rental, though, is that it doesn't really stick the landing when it comes to bringing those two components together and keeping the terror on your mind after the movie wraps up either. I do think that Franco and Joe Swanberg do a pretty good job when it comes to taking an extreme scenario and using it to show how these characters react, their true colors, but ultimately it winds up being more about the core concept than anything and less about them, which maybe it could have worked, but as far as that core concept goes, it kind of just is what it is. I didn't find that they really said anything all that new, interesting, or unique about it, and that, for me, was all in the group dynamic and the character behavior, and again, that kind of gets pushed aside in the end. But even with that group dynamic, I do also have to point out another thing that I got particularly hung up on, and I can't really go into detail on it because of spoilers, but this whole thing with Taylor's character, is he racist or isn't he? I don't think that was fleshed out nearly enough, and I guess I wound up being a little uncomfortable and confused by what it could be saying about making those assumptions about someone. Ultimately, that part of the movie didn't really work for me at all. On the technical front, though, Franco does show off. He has some skills behind the lens. He's able to take minimal resources and make the most of them, and it's especially true when it comes to capturing his main location here. The geography of that house is very well established, as it needs to be, and I do have a feeling you're going to hear this a lot about this movie, but it is very atmospheric. There's some visual foreshadowing also that I thought worked super well, and it circles back to make The Rental a fairly exciting film to rewatch as you can track everything straight through. I'm going to give the movie 3 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. It is a solid watch. It plays with how crazy the idea of renting a home from a complete stranger is. It's got a great ensemble, and it uses them well to dig into certain behavior and how we operate under pressure, but it does stop short of having something really groundbreaking to say about the renter-rentee dynamic, and that puts the rental more so in the fleeting thrill category rather than the type of scare that leaves you with a lot to chew on when the movie ends. So those right there are my thoughts on The Rental. If and when you see the movie, do hit that comment section below. I really want to know what you think about this one. Before I say goodbye, we gotta give a big Patreon shout out to Luke. Luke is one of my top tier members. He has been an absolute joy to have part of this community for quite some time now. Luke, I cannot thank you enough for your continued support and your kindness across the board as well. You are something else, man. Big thanks to everybody out there watching this video. Please like and share it before you leave, and I'll see you soon with more movie and TV reviews.